Well, I've got the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's time to have some fun tonight. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to you. Welcome to the GP Factor Show. I'm doing it solo tonight. That's right. Just back from Orlando a couple of weeks ago. Last week, my man, Tatron Brown, got to send him a shout out. And I want to send a shout out to everyone who's been on the show because this will be the last show of 2025. And boy, to my man, Matthew Bennett. Back, whoa, man, what was that, April that we started the GG Factor? Here we are. I cannot believe that was April 23rd, and now it's December 23rd, 2025. And let me tell you something, I've had a ball. I've really enjoyed it all, y'all. So I want to say welcome to the GG Factor tonight. Well, tonight I'm going to be your inspiration and your empowerment, but I want to also talk to you about what's trending. What's trending? What's going on out here economically, educationally, spiritually, what's going on with us in this world out here today, what's going on with our mental, emotional states. We're going to talk about a little bit of all of that tonight, and I'm going to say this to you. I'm honored that I can have the moment. I hope you've got the time and the space and the place, because tonight is going to be all right. I'm just looking forward to the next year already, man. It's been such a blast this year, so much going on that, whoo. But let me tell you something, there's some breaking news going tonight. And I got to kick it right off with that breaking news because it is absolutely, unequivocally powerful. Some people waving at me over there on IG. How you doing tonight? Thank you so much for being with us. Hey, listen, at the end of the day, my job tonight is to inspire you, to empower you, to educate you, to inform you, to give you some options, give you some strategies that I really feel, seriously speaking, could be a game changer for you. So even when I have a yes or not, when I stop the music, it becomes business tonight. That's right. Once again, happy holidays to you. Happy New Year to you, because I won't see you probably again until around the first week in the month of January 2026. I want this to be a show that you'll take a reflection tonight. I want this to be a show tonight that you'll stop and take an analysis to avoid paralysis tonight, because I feel that if we don't and you keep doing the same things, you're going to get the same results. So I want to say to you tonight that without a shadow of doubt, I know that we have a lot going on that's, I say what, it has impact. And to kick things off, when I look over here to my right, I see that breaking news. I was just flipping through some channels today, and they said they stopped 47. They stopped the Trump administration from taking the National Guard into Chicago. And boy, I can say whoopee, because I know that wouldn't have been nothing but another waste of time and a deterrent. And already we just had a situation where there were a couple of people already shot in Washington, D.C. who didn't need to be there either. And that's just you and my, maybe you can call it subjective, but I can clarify that I think everything is going to be all right, whether the National Guard show up or not. So that's breaking news. They just broke the news on that about 3 or 4 hours ago. Not even 3 or 4 hours ago. I think it was around 4 or 5 o'clock. And they said that they decided that no, the Supreme Court. I don't think so, Mr. Trump. I don't think that can happen. And I give all glory to God that it didn't happen, because we don't want a repeat of what we just had, right? Nobody wants to see something like that happen where people are just rendering their services, doing what they do. Imagine you're just trying to do your job, and somebody comes along with a malicious mindset and take you out. Those 2 people back there that got shot in D.C. And I want to segue to something else now that's really, really heavy on my mind that's been going down around us. And over the last couple of weeks, we've had some very, very serious situations in regards to just violent activity. People who are just, for their own personal agenda, just killing people. Those college students killed at Brown University. They finally find the man, and he kills himself. It's a sad reality of where we are, what we're doing, and how we're living. That's why I say strategically tonight, it's all a mindset thing, that how do you deal with those situations that anything could happen to any one of us at random? Anything could happen to any one of us at random out here. How do you prepare yourself for anything like that? Guess what? There is no preparation. And there's only one preparation you can have, is having a mindset that says that I'm grounded within the spirit within me. I don't need to get very religious with you tonight, but I do need to kick things off and say, I think it's a big, deeper need for us to deeply go further inside. There's a light that shines in you. If you saw my reel this week, that light shines brightly too. But you got to always realize that it shines brightly if you continue to tap into it. How do you keep your light shining brightly? You got to stop, be still, and go within. I think it was 11 people shot and killed in Australia. And if I'm not mistaken, if I look back at my notes and whatever I wrote down here, I was just listening to the guy talking about it today. And I said to myself, wow, this should I say just extremists, if you want to call them that. His ideology from an Islamic state went into the Jewish community. They're just about to celebrate Hanukkah. And this man decided to just kill 11 people. And you understand something when I say to you this. From the beginning of time, there's always been this conflict with religion, this conflict with power, this conflict with war, this conflict with whose ideology, how do you want to pronounce that word, works or who doesn't. And honestly speaking, I think his name is Anthony, what is his last name? Blinken. Anthony Blinken came on today as a special guest. What was today? I think I saw that Sunday. Fareed Zakara, I think that's his name. But he has this program that's called GPS. And that's where he's just global public square, where he goes all around the world, find out what's going on and the impact that it has to us. The former Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, was on today, and Mr. Blinken was saying this, that there's so much going on, all for the sake of power. Putin was taking over a whole, 2, 3, 4, 5% of the Ukraine right now. The Ukraine, as far as Gregory Griffith's perspective on this tonight, I don't see that being a winning cause because they just don't have the support system needed. And what happened today that Mr. Fareed Zakari was talking about is that there seems to be an exodus of America in terms of the support system that the world's strongest power is supposed to be globally giving people who need it. And it's really strange to me that we should even have a narrative around that right now. We should never turn the other cheek away from those that need us. We're going to always need our allies. And Zelensky, man, he needs help. And not just from America. Not to get too deep politically tonight, but just the fact that the Supreme Court had to block Trump, had to stop him with the National Guard. The next thing you know, somebody's talking about how many malicious, unnecessary just killings in this country, in this world, since Australia's over in Sydney, happened within the last 14 days as we wrap up 2025. I want you to contemplate that. Why? Like I would ask my first and always guest when they show up on the GG Factor. I'm asking myself, Gregory Griffith, why? Why is this happening? Is there a solution to this gun madness? Is there a solution to this? People want to people are feeling like, this is what this man said. People are feeling like they're taking control and doing what they're doing because they feel alienated. They feel they don't have a purpose. They don't feel they have no one respecting them with any dignity. So what do? They take the law into their own hands. Right here in South Florida where I live, Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, it's been about 3 or 4 years ago now. I can't say exactly how many. No, it's been way more than that because I've been retired about 3 years. It's been about 6 or 7 years ago when this young guy with disabilities went into the school and just killed about 18 people. And he felt alienated. He felt unaccepted. He felt he didn't have a purpose. So I would think the agenda moving forward, especially from an administrative perspective about what we're doing with our present administration, do you realize that they cut 83% of their aid to global attention about what can be done in America? I want to scream that out real loud. 83% of the money that we had when Biden was in control, Trump comes in and takes it away. There are 250 million people who depended on that from a humanitarian perspective. 250 million, 250 million people all around the world out here, man. It's scary. It's very, very scary. And all I can say to myself is, you wonder why. What's the obscure motive behind just malicious cut to people. I think, what is this man's name that came on? That's I got to bring him up because he's so relevant to the conversation. His name is David Miliband. He's the CEO for the International Rescue Committee. They're the people who are out there taking care of these 250 million people around the world who need humanitarian cause. And this man says, shame on you, Trump. He just, it's not me screaming, it's him screaming. And he said it with such a diligence that what's going on in this world, that of all the things they would cut, why do you cut humanitarian help? Sudan. The worst humanitarian crisis in the whole world is in Sudan. 30 million of the 45 million people there need humanitarian aid, and we shut it down. But then Trump turns around and gave Argentina, some country, $50 billion. What the hell is wrong with that? Something up, man. Something up. But I know I didn't vote for him. And I will never vote for anyone if they can't be heterogeneous in the nation of how they want to administer the services in that worldwide global position as president. He's there for everyone, for all people. I'm a retired special needs teacher. And when I heard he cut back on that money, I said, come on, man, what's up with that? Before he fell out with Elon Musk and they were around laughing and giggling about it while they're putting billions in their pockets. Something's wrong in this country, man. When I go solo like this, I have to blast because I got a moment to do it. Something wrong in the U.S. of A. that we losing sight of the reality of people everywhere who pay taxes deserve to have a support system from the government. They just do. It's scary. It's very scary. And I'm still trying to figure out why, man. I'm going to sip my tea and just give you all about 20 seconds to think about that. Why do we have these kind of ifs, ands, and buts, these hidden obscurities in our government like this? Why would there even be a conversation to cut any humanitarian help? And then Trump, he's imposing all these tariffs. They ain't doing nothing but raking in more money. I don't mind the rich getting richer because I want to be rich. I ain't going to sit there and lie to you. But don't deprive people who need help, man. Don't do that. Don't cut back on these programs. When I was on this show about a few weeks ago, I just helped a homeless man, and it touched me to the core of me. I went through everything I could to help this man. Took him all the way over to Miami Beach, gave him food, gave him a few bucks, gave him everything he needed, went and bought him lunch, set up an appointment with him. And I took him over there. And when I got there, the place that's supposed to help him wasn't even a physical place for people who want to help other people who should be getting help from the government. They had to sit outside on Miami Beach. Hollywood Beach, excuse me. God bless the lady who said, I'm sorry, sir, this is where we meet them. I said, there's not an office, there's not an intake, there's not a place for them to come in. They're homeless people, they haven't eaten. Can they take a shower? Can they have a place where they can do what they need to do? Our government should never allow that to happen. It's just like people who are veterans. There's no way in the hell a veteran should ever want for nothing. You're giving up your butt for this country and come back here and they tell you they don't even care about you. You barely can get veterans help. Come on, man, something wrong. As we wrap up 225, I want people to strive to be a little bit more, should I say, aware of what's going on with your tax dollars. And you need to holler back at them, man. Holler back at your senators, your House of Representatives, your congressman. Somebody needs to wake up, man. I don't understand it. And this is not even, this is a strictly bipartisan thing. It's not because you're Democrat or because you're Republican or because you're liberal or you just somebody just sitting on the bench. This is just a humanitarian cause. Still, now I'm going to sip my tea and calm down a minute because I think that kind of revved me up. It revved me up. Anytime I feel more and more people are making more and more money. Shout out to people, though. Shout out to him. I have these senior moments. I can't even call his name. I'm sorry. But the guy, IBM president, man, who just giving away billions of dollars for all kind of causes. There are people out here now who are doing the right thing. You can't take it with you. You can't take it with you. You can't take billions of dollars with you. Somebody can be helped with that money. I'm just trying to make sense. What's his name, Maru? Bill Gates. Yeah.
No. This man died. Gave all of his savings.
My wife just reminded me. God bless his soul. Dick Van Dyke, legendary Hollywood actor, giving away all of his money. I don't say Dick. Dick, you don't have to give it all away, Dick. But I'm not being facetious right now. I'm being very realistic right now. This man has gave up everything he got for a humanitarian cause to help those who are needed. It just to me, I think it's kind of an issue where at some point someone stops and say, you know what? Something needs to change. Something needs to change. Every time I turn on the TV, every time I think I want to just stop and find out what's going on with us, there's Trump. There's something he did. Something that he did that cut off somebody's this. Something he did that cut off somebody that. Something he did that people are just saying. And then they all start saying, why? They keep talking about the economy right now. And I want to offer a few strategies tonight about that. Tonight, I'm sort of going to intertwine what I would normally do on my Thursday night masterclass tonight. In other words, I want to speak about some strategies, some alternatives that will help you get a winner's mindset that no matter what the economy is doing, you can be ahead of the curve. That's all I've ever tried to do in my life. I always made a difference as a teacher, but I never made a fortune. And I don't regret one moment of it. One of the most, should I say, pleasurable times of my life was seeing the light bulb come on with a kid. If you only knew. And I'm talking about special needs kids with autism. When I heard Anna Navarro talking about her son, and then I thought about Trump making fun of people with disabilities, the president of the United States. And y'all voted for him. You put him in there. And you got to actually, you start wondering, man. You just start wondering what's really, really going on. When you look at Gaza, you think about October the 7th, a little over a year now. And the war just kicked off and people just killing each other. And then innocent people, all these innocent civilians, I think they said over 50,000 civilians killed. 50,000 or more. They say that 90% of Gaza is gone. 90% wiped out, flattened out from war. You have to stop sometimes and say to yourself, why? 250 million people around the world get humanitarian aid. There's nowhere on anywhere's agenda, any government around this world, not just America, that should cut back that. They should never cut back that. Never. That should be the last place they go to take the money away from people who need it all around the world that can't help themselves. And I promise you this, man, if we don't intercede or intervene or do something to, or should I say, get a more heterogeneous nature going on with our government, it's just the trickle effect that's just not good. See, it never hurts until it hits home with somebody or in your family or hit home with you personally. We think, oh, no, let it go. They had something on, I think it was something, music for someone, but that program came on that night, and the reason I'm bringing that up, it was one of those humanitarian causes. And I think they raised about $50 million just to come on and use their intellectual properties as musicians and give up their talents. And me being a musician, man, I had to even go right in my pocket and make a donation to that cause. I gave them just whatever I felt I could. And it was all donations. And they talked about it the next day, how many trucks was able to go into those countries where those kids were starving to death. How many trucks were able to go into those areas where people were trying to figure out what's up, what are they doing, how can they make this happen? So tonight, as we wrap up 2025, I really want people to understand, man, that we're living in some very fragile times. There are a lot of things going on that nobody understands it more than the people who are going through it. But I'm going to switch things around so I can get on a little more of a light note. Did you see Christina Aguilera? Did you see her Christmas special last night? Woo! Boy, Christina, 25 years ago, and she's very relevant to what I want to talk about now when I start talking about intellectual property tonight, when I start talking about your passion, your purpose, and your gift to this university. Boy, let me tell you something. I sat there and watched that lady. She was flawless. I know somebody had to see that special last night. Not to mention, she gets prime time on CBS. And she was at the Eiffel Tower in Paris. So I'm putting a shout out there for Christina right now. If you didn't see her Christmas special last night, do yourself a favor. Go to YouTube. I'm sure it's going to probably get, between now and the new year, 50 million hits. Woo! If Dua Lipa can get 50 million, I know she can get 100 million. Because, boy, let me tell you something. She, you know, I love all those Christmas songs, man. You know, have yourself a wonderful Christmas, the Christmas song. Just great. And honestly speaking, here's why I want to bring her up tonight. It kind of comes down to this. I'm offering an opportunity for people to come into my Stripe camp. I call it my Stripe camp now because you got to hit the Stripe, come on in, give up $49, and I got you for 1 month. I'd like you to take the 30, 60, 90-day challenge. I realize I've been in about 22 minutes now. I'm speaking about what I do to be a coach or a consultant for you. This is my 30 days to a new you challenge. I'm saying to people that you take 30, 60, 90 days of your life, take an analysis of where you are right now. And the reason I'm bringing it up while I'm talking about Christina Aguilera is this, because this woman's intellectual property that she did 25 years ago, she did a Christmas show. She was just a kid herself. She's only 45 years old. She was 20 years old and she did her Christmas special. Can you imagine 25 years later? And she talked about it. And that's why I want to talk to you about it tonight. She said, this is all I know. This is what I love to do. This is what I have a passion for. This is where I'm at. And I'm asking somebody tonight, where's your passion like Christina? Are you monetizing that passion like Christina? Can you say 20 years later in your life that you're still using that passion? Because where there's a passion, there's a purpose. And I always call it my P3 theory. There's a possibility. And she said it. She said, I'm just so grateful that I can come back 25 years later and do this. And boy, she had Sheila E. with her. Woo! Chuck Escovedo's daughter that was kicking them drums, boy. I don't know if y'all remember The Glamorous Life. I got to go back to 1980. I think that was 84. Yeah, 1984 it was when The Glamorous Life came out. And Sheila E. was just nobody. And to see her standing there doing a song with Christina, and they both using their intellectual properties as singers, as performers, man, I was honored. So I'm offering that tonight. I want you to come into my camp if you feel like it. It's right there on the screen right there. All you do is go to my Stripe account, hit it. You can take it 1 month at a time, but if you sign up for 3 months, I'll give you 1 month free. And it's already at a 50% discount because I just want people to get into the new year and get fired up about it. Get fired up about your mind. Get fired up about your spirit. Just get fired up about it, mind, body, and spirit. You may not be religious, but you got to be spiritual. Every week I take my little cap. I put it on for a few minutes tonight because we're talking about it. I'll probably take it off again a little later. Here's the point I'm trying to make sure you can't discount that if you do this first, that everything will always be all right, but you will be anchored. Nurture your spirit first. She talked about that. Speaking of Christina, you could feel that girl's passion for what she's doing. You could feel her spirit in what she was doing. You knew when she took that microphone, and it seemed effortless. And there are people who are singers, then this is a singer. They're singers, but she a singer. If you feel me on that, she is the epitome of the perfection when it comes to using that vocal. Woo! But she said it. And I heard Lady Gaga say the same thing. I don't give a damn if it's 2 or 2,000. I'm turning the house out. She had the whole world watching her last night under the Eiffel Tower. Lady Gaga was on 60 Minutes. You don't just go on 60 Minutes. She's an icon. I heard that beautiful song her and Bruno Mars got. You're talking the top in the business, man. When you start talking Bruno Mars, Christina, Lady Gaga, you throw Beyonce in there too, as far as performers and people who are just loving their craft. They put God first. I know they do. So I'm going to say this to you tonight. My Stripe account is right there. You hit the Stripe account. If not, you can go to theactivator.net. That's my website. Sign up. Start your new year with a bang. The best get coaches. The best get someone to give them attention about what they're doing. You hear me over there, IG? I'm telling you tonight, if you don't think you need a coach sometime, you just keep doing the same things, you get the same results. I wouldn't be on this YouTube show right now. I wouldn't have a master class on Thursdays right now if I probably had been unconditional plug to one of my mentors, Brendan Boyd. He said, man, you can do this. And now that I'm doing it, I wish I'd have started it 10 years ago. Shout out to Israel Durant. Shout out to James Malinchak. All those people I poured into, they were mentors of mine. And I'm promising you this. Somebody can see something in you that you can't see. Somebody can correct something in you that you can't correct. Somebody can monitor and critique you and make it better. So that's my unconditional plug tonight. I don't see it right here. Let me tell you something. I always hold this little medal up while I'm on my show. I hold it up to people and I tell them the honest truth. I'm a 25-time marathoner. And I don't say that to brag, but I say that because I remember when I could not run 1 mile. I do remember clearly I couldn't run 1 mile. And I played basketball, football, baseball. I'm a swimmer. I run a lot. But I got out there and I started trying to run. And I realized, oh boy, this ain't no joke. But I found it to become a passion. And that's why I'm saying, from a physical perspective, maybe I can help you. You may not want to run your first marathon. Maybe you do. Maybe you love basketball, football, swimming. Maybe you're a cross trainer. Maybe you love lifting weights. Maybe you're just like a little heterogeneous person about a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and you diversify that and you make it work. Because remember this, the light in you is the temple in you. That's the physical you. The light in you is the temple in you. If you don't take care of it, it's just like a car. I promise you, as we wrap up 2025, my friends, it will shut down on you. The same way if you don't nurture your mental, emotional state, it will shut down on you. Depression is a silent killer. High blood pressure is a silent killer. And I'm speaking truth to somebody tonight that you may need to stop, take an analysis of where are you, what you're doing with your life. Are you in the right place you want to be? If not, I'll say this to you. Come into the camp. I call it my Get Activated community. Or if you want deeper, more micromanageable, should I say, attention is coaching, you can take my 30 days to new you, maximum potential coaching. You get a copy of this book, and it's a step-by-step guide to activate peak performance. And see, peak performance involves balance. Peak performance involves knowing where you are in mind, body, and spirit. Let me tell you something too. Peak performers have to deal with something that we should talk about tonight before I get back to what's going on around the world. They're non-negotiable to you being a success story. And your success is defined by you and what you say you want to do to define yourself, to activate your true identity. And it's work. People ask me, man, how in the hell could you run 25 marathons, be a full-time teacher, a full-time musician, a real estate investor, an author of a book, a daddy of 2 sons, a married man, a brother or uncle, and still make it happen? I just had my 71st birthday. I don't ever mind talking about my age. It doesn't bother me at all. I'm just blessed that I wake up every day. But I wake up, I put that cap on, I make sure I nurture my spirit first. And tonight I'm just doing this because I'm not having a show on Thursday because Thursday is Christmas. And I'll be chilling, giving all glory to God and working on rebirthing and tapping further into the light so that I can get it to shine a little brightly. So I hope on this eve before Christmas Eve, I know everybody's out going to be partying. I'll be going to one tomorrow night myself and hanging out with family, having people over for the holidays and all that good stuff. But this is the time to nurture your spirit. This is the time to get anchored more in a lifestyle management that works for all of you. And the greatest power you could ever have would never be in your external world. It's nothing out there. It's all an inside job. I'm going to sip my tea on that one. There's nothing in your external world that can be more powerful than you nurturing your spirit, being anchored, having the right foundation. Because when you get that kind of blueprint, when you get that kind of mind, body, and spirit system, that becomes your foundation for success. And I spoke about this starting with what? Someone who's only done nothing but sing her whole life, and she put her whole heart and soul into it. And anything that you want to do, if there's a passion for it, I promise you, man, that's your purpose. That's your purpose. I'm not a rock star. I still play music for a living too. I've been very fortunate to get on a very 4 or 5-star club scene here, country clubs, doing corporate events. I got a New Year's Eve job. I got a job next year for Valentine's Day. I'm blessed, and I give all glory to God that I listen to my spirit. I almost took a job in corporate America. I almost took this job in corporate America. I have an undergraduate degree in business administration, and something said, you know, you love your music, man. But the music business was taking me on a roller coaster financially. And my wife at the time, God bless her, my son Jonathan, who's now 35 years old, was a baby about a year old. And I went to work one night as a musician, and they told me I had a job next week. They were switching me around. I was working a real nice club circuit. Feeling real good, too. Brand new BMW, nice little house I got there. Got my band working. I'm a full-time musician, man. Next week came. They didn't have a job for me, but I realized I got other intellectual property. Who am I talking to tonight? You're at the end of the year tonight. We're about 33 minutes into this right now. I hope I'm tapping into you tonight. This is the Gregory Griffith perspective for one reason, because sometimes you need to make a change. See the beauty and hope and change. Feel the joy and the surrender that you can just feel it for just when you surrender to the love of something that you have a passion for. I know people right now, man, got passions for things that they're not monetizing. And they're getting up and busting their butt 40 hours a week for somebody else. And I'm not telling anyone to quit their job. I never quit my job as a teacher. Never. Sometimes, yeah, maybe I never should have got into education. Who knows? Maybe I'll be a superstar. Maybe I'll be a rock star or something like that. I don't regret a minute. The gratification from seeing those kids that I had over 31 years of my life with, priceless. And that's what it comes down to at the end of the year right now. What are you doing from a humanitarian purpose that will make you look like the God in you, the spirit in you? What are you doing? Are you in a profession when you show up every day that they know you there because you're fired up? They know you there because your faith faculty is activated. Don't show up to that job no more if you're not fired up. Don't show up to that job no more if you're not focused. Don't show up to that job no more if you don't feel like you got the oomph of a mustard seed of faith about that's where you should be. This is a good time to take an analysis. See, I have something that I talk about a lot with people, and it's funny. It's funny. The word chaos. Since Sunday when I went to church until like Monday afternoon, I kept hearing this word. Everybody dealing with this chaos. Everybody got this going, that going on, that going on, that going on. And then they live with that chaos. I call it what? Organized chaos. I have to put the adjective there, or descriptor, because you can live with organized chaos practically all your life. There are people showing up at jobs they've been on for 20 years. knowing they don't love that job, knowing they're around toxic people, and they still show up because it's their comfort zone. Now, I'm asking a very simple question tonight. Are you just in a comfort zone of complacency? Do you have this burning desire for something else you want to do, but the fear of failure is stopping you tonight? We're living in very fragile times right now. Economically speaking, there's a crunch going on. Our present administration think everything okay, but people are feeling quite contrary to that. So all I'm saying to you tonight is this is a good time. This is the 23rd day of December. I walked in the door on the 23rd today and gave my wife flowers. We got married on the 23rd. And from the day that we've been married, I think maybe in my life, I may have missed one time on the 23rd of the month without bringing her flowers. And that's special. That's special to me. That's a non-negotiable. She said, "No, you didn't have to go get me flowers." I said, "No." My spirit talks to me all the time and said, you know, there's a proverb that says, when you find a wife, you find a good thing. If you're in a toxic relationship, you don't feel like I'm speaking to you right now, and you know you need a change, make the change. Even if you don't take my offer tonight to go into the Stripe, should I say, account and come into the Get Activated community, I don't care if you don't come to me, but you know if you're in a relationship it's not working personally. You know if you go into a job where it's toxic and you bring that home, and the chaos, the organized chaos can kill you because it creates stress, shingles, depression, high blood pressure, strokes, all of that. When your body is dealing with that chaos, that imbalance, it's not healthy at all. And when you're an able-minded person, let me tell you something. If you got up, shut up. And realize that the only limitations that exist are the ones you place upon yourself. The only limitations that exist are the ones you place upon yourself. If you say I can, it's a sure shot you won't. But boy, if you just say, yes, I can. Yes, I can change this job. Yes, I can get out of this toxic relationship. I'm going around people I don't. I was talking to people the other day, and they're telling me about all these toxic people around them in this job. But they keep going there getting that paycheck. You know, they got their benefits. You know, everything's cool. They go in and anguish themselves for 8 hours, then they come home. And without them even knowing that heavy luggage, that heavy luggage, you know, the luggage of anguish, the luggage of anger, the luggage of pessimism, the luggage of negativity, the luggage of the fear of staying in that place where you just continue doing the same things, getting the same results, when you do desire something different. Maybe I'll be that fire tonight. Maybe I just might be the one to get you to say, I got the Gigi perspective tonight, and I understand what's going on. So all I can say to you guys is this. I want you to be aware of this. 10 days from now, this year will be over. 10 days from tonight, the year will be over. And if you're waking up every day, you got to have the right mindset to say, I woke up today, I can begin again. You got to have the right mindset to say that I'm going to deal with time a little bit better this year. I always ask people to carve out 14 hours of their life a week, just 14 hours. Remember, you got 24/7, 168 hours a week. Can't you carve out just 14 hours a week for your mind, body, spirit? Come on, man. Come on. It can't be that difficult. It can't be. Imagine if you got up 15 minutes earlier for your spirit. Before you go to bed at night, another 15 minutes. Imagine 30 minutes of every day, or at least 5 days a week, you do some kind of exercise. And then you can increase it to 45 minutes. You can even maybe increase it to an hour, but just 30 minutes. Just 30 minutes for exercise, 30 minutes for spirit, and then find your passion. Look in the mirror one day and say, what am I really passionate about? What is it that I love to do that even if I didn't get paid for it, I would get up and do this anyway? I'm a bass guitar player. I'm a trumpet player. I developed my voice to become a singer. I've never contested to be a singer in my life. but I had such a passion for music. I had such a passion for what I'm doing. And the universe gave me purpose. And now I do more singing than I do anything else. I even do solo gigs when I want to. It's my intellectual property. Tap into your purpose. Because if it's a passion, that's your purpose. You may make pastries for a living. One of my ESC students, I'll just say Lady J, I'm going to call her J. Her mother invited me to one of their holiday little gatherings. No, excuse me. It was her birthday, right, Miriam? It was her birthday. It was her birthday. And her mother whipped out some pastries, and she whipped them out like I was at Lady J's bakery. You know, you got Becky's and all those around here. Alici's up there in Tampa. I said to her, this presentation is incredible. I forgot I'm sitting out here at the park with you. Well, I just love to do it. Bing, the light bulb went on inside of me. I said, ma'am, everybody can use a little extra money, and somebody wants this. Somebody wants this. Y'all got my point? I hope you got my point tonight. Passion, purpose, knock, knock, knock. The universe will give you possibility. I'm never bragging on myself. All Gregory Griffith is doing is using simple old me as an example. As soon as I got fired up about anything I love to do, it's just amazing. It's just amazing how all of a sudden the people came out of the woodwork to help. When I wanted to write my first book, when I wanted to run my first marathon, and I walked out my classroom more than 20 plus years. That was a long time ago. I'd only been a teacher about 4 years at that point. And here's the point I want to make about telling you, when you got a passion and you really want to do something with your body, your mind, and your spirit, the universe is just going to answer you. I walked out my classroom and saw 40 kids, and I said to myself, man, I think they could use a little help, and that'll help me be more of a tight runner. At that point, I was doing a little 5, 10Ks, never a marathon. And I never coached any kids in my life to be better runners. I asked that head coach, Tab Sassy. I will never forget that day back in 1996. Say, hey, man, I think you could use a little help. I know I'm talking to somebody. You could go to your job and something's going to happen when you go in there with the right winner's mindset, and something's going to happen. The light bulb is going to come on. I walked out that door, saw all those kids, and the field monster was trying to stop me. Gregory, you're already over 40. You can't do it. What do you mean you want to start training with these kids and running 25 and 30 miles with them and still training for a marathon? Kept poking at me. It just kept poking at me. But you know something? The old clock on the wall, y'all, won't change. And I finally say, well, you know what? It's either now or never. I took the job. I became the head coach for cross country. And here's the point I want to make. I had such a passion for running. I got addicted. I started running 30, 40, 50 miles a week. I ran 20 marathons in 1 decade. And it never even dawned on me that I had to go out there and push myself when I didn't want to. Of course, there were times you feel apprehensive and uncertain and all that. But man, let me tell you something. You got to feel the fear and get the job done anyway, physically. You got to feel the fear and get the job done anyway, mentally. You got to feel the fear and get the job done anyway, spiritually. And when you do, and you find that equilibrium of balance, boy, it's just amazing. I knew I had to take better care of myself. You don't understand. When I was a kid in college, they called me fat boy. You got to understand. I can giggle about it right now. They called Mr. G fat boy. They called me pizza face because I had horrible acne. I remember those days like yesterday. Words will cut like a knife, or they'll be soothing to your soul like honey. I don't know what happened, but I got addicted to running while I was in college. And my sister Linda Baker was over at FSU. I was at FAMU, and I knew it was about 2.5 miles to run over there. I finally got enough guts to say, I'm going to run to my sister's school. I got fired up about it, is my point. And the rest is history. I never would have known if I just kept running. And the only reason why I didn't run a marathon earlier, and I'm telling you, because the fear of failure was stopping me. It was poking at me. Kept telling me I didn't have enough time. Kept telling me you never run 26 miles without stopping. The only thing I could do is take a little pee, a little water, and keep going. And I did my first marathon when I got the first medal, 1997, 3 hours and 40 minutes. I never ran the Boston Marathon because I stopped even kicking myself around to do it. I don't even have time to talk to you now about things that I can say to myself. The only reason why I didn't run the Boston Marathon is my fault. It's not because I couldn't have done it. I trained very hard for it one time, and here's the point I want to make. The two things that happened in my life, three things that I'm going to share with you all tonight about the fear of failure and inconsistency without being PC, persistent and consistent. Denzel Washington talked about it the other day, and I might as well share it with you tonight. Because I did say this show will be about telling you some things to get in your head. So when you start 2026, you'll be in the mix. When you start 2026, maybe 10 or 20% of this tonight kicks in with you. It might make a difference. I trained like crazy to run the Boston Marathon. And I'll never forget it. I flew all the way to Jacksonville, Florida from Tampa, Florida. I got in the marathon. It was storming like crazy, unbelievable. Like I had a hoodie over my head and everything, man. And I just knew I was doing great, and I was running fine, and I was doing great. I was running fine, I was doing great, and I was running fine, I was doing great. And then I looked at my watch, and I got to the 25th mile, and I'll never forget that feeling. And it said 3 hours and 20 minutes. I said, oh, Lord. And for me to qualify for Boston, I needed to finish in at least 3 hours and 25 minutes. I finished 3:29. I needed a 3:26, excuse me. 3 minutes. 3 minutes off because my clock and the clock on the course got thrown off. And when I got to my last mile of my marathon, I felt like the world was ended. And the point I want to make is to you, shame on you, Gregory Griffith, because I never trained again to run the Boston Marathon. Scenario one, never. Now here's scenario two, which is real. Because this was because I had no choice, because it was about survival. Teachers have to take a teacher certification examination. And back then there was something called the class exam, the subject area exam. And you had to take them and pass them, or you could not become a teacher. And this after I went to graduate school, I've finished all my studies. I'm about to get my master's degree in exceptional student education. And they say, oh, excuse me, Mr. Griffith, because you're coming in out of field, your undergraduate degree is in business. We need you to take 20 more hours and take these special subject area tests and the class exam, and then you can become a teacher. I said, man, come on, man. I done bust my, you know what? I went to graduate school for 52 Saturdays, and I'm a full-time musician getting off at 3 in the morning. Imagine that, and I got to be in class at 8 o'clock. So I go through all my classes. I'm through with that. I got my master's degree. I walk across the stage and I got it. And they say, you need 20 more hours for teacher certification. So what did they do? They gave me a temp certificate, and I had 2 years to pass that subject area test and the class exam. I took that test real quick, thought I was all that in a cup of tea, and I failed it. Probably got about 200, 220 or something. All I know, I didn't pass it. Then I bust my you-know-what, and I bust my you-know-what, and I bust my you-know-what, and I took that test again, and I failed it again by 2 points. I needed one more right. It reminded me of when I didn't keep training like I should have for Boston. I got a 293. I needed a 295. I'll never forget that feeling. Like I'm looking at this computer monitor right now. I kicked it. The lady thought I was losing my mind. Everybody thought I was losing because I was. I was so pissed off because now I done took this test 2 times and I done bust my butt. But you know something? I told you I had a 2-year temp. The window was closing in. The clock was ticking. I only had about 6 more months left to take that class, that class exam and that subject area exam. I wrote about it in my book. It was mindset. It was all my mindset. I was far closer than I ever would imagine, just like running that clock to go to the Boston Marathon. All I needed was one more right. I went all the way to Tallahassee. I wanted to know what the hell is going on. I know I studied. I know I ain't stupid. You know, I know I got enough cognitive abilities here. And here's the point I want to make. I went to Tallahassee. I reviewed my test. And man, when I looked at the simple questions that I knew this. That's the fear of failure. That's the emotional monster that throws you all out of balance, throws you into that organized chaos. And I looked at those questions. I said, oh, man, this is whack, man. And I had been back to Tallahassee for a while since I graduated from FAMU. Yeah, I went on. I got 300 or something. I passed that test, or my ass wouldn't have been a teacher. What's the point, Greg? It's always closer than you think. I'm dealing with that right now on this GG Factor. I'm dealing with that right now on my master class. You feel you don't put in enough and you should get the results. But if you don't, quitting is not an option. If it's passion and purpose, you knock on the door. Eventually, one of those doors to the universe is going to open. And see, for me as a teacher, I had no choice. That was my job. That was my bread and butter. That was my mortgage payment. That was my BMW payment. And oh boy, it felt so good when I passed that test. It felt really good. Scenario number 3, and I'll wrap this up tonight. I decided I want to get into financial services while I was still teaching. And because remember, teachers make a difference, but they don't make a lot of money. I want to go deep about that, but it's a sad shame in America what they pay teachers. Not because I was one, it's just a sad shame for what the job calls for, facilitating information to allow people to become a better version of themselves. That's your job, and the government say that's what they want to give you. And once again, like I said earlier in this conversation, something wrong in the big house. So I had to continue looking at alternatives to what I was doing to supplement what I was doing was being a full-time teacher. And I got spoiled. For 16 years of my life, I walked out my front door, turned a couple of blocks and went up and went to my school and was at work in 10 minutes. The last 10 years of my life, same thing. I could still teach right now. And guess what? Because I can. My certificate is still active to 2029, my intellectual property. And here's the point I want to make to you. I got my financial services license. And then I decided I wanted to become a financial planner. There's a Series 6 and a 63. And here's what I'm going to tell you. I took the 63. I needed a 70. Guess what Gregory Griffith got? 69. I got pissed off again. Tried to kick the monitor again. I took the test again, my friends. And at the end of the day, I got another 69. Here's the point I want to make to you. I walked away from it. I was closer than ever. One more right. All I needed was one more right. Somebody's closer than you would ever imagine. Before we wrap up tonight, my wife just reminded me, I said I was going to clock this within an hour. I want you to know this tonight. And I'm going to make another shout out because we're wrapping up. If you take the 30-day challenge, if you stop for a moment and determine wherever you are right now, whatever you're doing with your life right now, and you start taking a monthly analysis of yourself in mind, body, spirit. You look at your job, is it the right place you want to be? You look at your personal life. You look at your family life. You look at where you are. Look at your spiritual life. Are you growing within yourself in that capacity? And then you determine strategically, can I carve out those 14 hours a week? If you need a coach, I'd love to help you. The Get Activated community is $49 a month. I'm going to run it right through January. Then I go back to $97 a month. My 30 days to know you maximum potential coaching now is $997 a month because you get me every week. You do get me on this one for $49.99 once a month. And I'll be glad to be there for you. My point is this. If you don't do nothing to change nothing, it won't change. So as we wrap up tonight, as I say to you, Happy New Year to you. I always say Happy New You. There's so much going on in this world today. I'm looking at all the things that I brought up, and I'm gonna talk about a few things that I think you might want to know about that happened this year that are incredible. When you look at Ohio State wrapping up 2025, excuse me, 4 times national champions. When you look at, there's a guy, I forgot his name, this kid, forgive me because I'm not a big hockey guy, but this guy broke the record, 890 goals as a hockey player. Woo! When you look the way the University of Florida came back and won the NCAA championship this year in 2025. Woo! And on another note, when they took Jukovic, and traded him to the LA Lakers, they protested. The fans literally went outside and protested about it. I want to end on a good old positive note. That my wife had me a note saying, I know you've been talking about a lot of things, been hitting people hard. Go ahead and give them something positive to think about. Everybody and everyone I'm telling you about right now, even the guy in the French Open for tennis, man, came back with an incredible comeback. It ain't too late for you to come back, baby. Why don't you be the comeback kid in 2026? Why don't you strive with big pride for the grand prize of success? My Strive Masterclass is every Thursday at 7 o'clock. It won't be this Thursday because it's Merry Christmas to you. And it won't be next Thursday because I'll be on stage in Singer Island performing with my intellectual property. These books are my intellectual properties. They can pay me for the rest of my life, and they will. And I'm going to make sure of that. Find your passion, find your purpose, and knock on the door. And I promise you, my friends, the universe will give you whatever you want. This has been Out of Sight tonight. Merry Christmas to you. Happy New Year to you. And I always say Happy New You. Define yourself, find yourself, and you'll be shocked, man. How much out there for you? You'll just be shocked. This has been a lot of fun tonight. I'm looking back at all these notes. I'm trying to see, Miriam, I'm saying, did I leave out something here that I think they really need to know? Oh, yeah, I sure did. And it's very, very important that you all know this, man. And I don't want to end it on, no, you know what? Like you said, Miriam, I'm not going to even bring that up. All I'm going to say is that we got some work to do. The midterms are coming up. We got some work to do. We got some things we need to change so that we can have things better for all people, not just some people. My name is Gregory Griffith. It's the GG Factor. Coming up in January, we have Andy Allen coming on the GG Factor. I've got my man DJ Izzy coming up on the GG Factor. I met an incredible young woman for the National Head Start Association. She is an ambassador for kids. She's an ambassador parent. Woo! Zanetta. And I know I don't even have time to tell you the way she and I connected. All I can tell you is that because I got such a passion for what I'm doing out here now to inspire and empower people, God is opening doors, bringing people into my camp. I wouldn't even imagine when it showed up. She's going to be on the show. Dr. L. Brown, Kinder Jam, the keynote speaker for the National Head Start Association. She's going to be on the show. You don't want to miss the GG Factor kicking off 2026. You want to be in the mix. Just the way I started the show, I end the show. And I'm going to say this to you. It's been Out of Sight. I gave you 1 hour with me tonight. I hope just if only 10% of that went into you, that the new you will show up in 2026. The new you will show up in your mind, body, and spirit. I'm going to put my little hat on tonight. I'm going to just put it on tonight over there, IG. Put it on up there for you tonight. Put on one of my medals tonight because I want some winners. I want you to be a winner. Nothing comes to a sleeper but a dream. Don't let the fear monster win. Keep believing in yourself. Be bold as a lion. Know you the captain of your ship. Have a burning desire and a dream. Stay empowered with relentless enthusiasm. Stay fired up and focused. Set your realistic 30 days to a new you goals. And guess what? The universe will hear you. Something's going to happen in your life. I'm Gregory Griffith, and there's nothing you can do about it. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Until the next time, my friends, see ya. Yeah.